Here we go.
In the former Yugoslavia under
former Yugoslavia.
Shambles. And
America should. Unfortunately, America is the one responsible for a lot of the operations, as opposed to selling them. When we sell the weapons, they're not going to use them. We've got to make them use them.
And in doing so, they often hit UN forces, and many of those UN forces came from NATO countries.
UN forces came from NATO countries? Really? Maybe they're connected somehow.
The UN forces that were provided by NATO countries changed from
Your post has been deleted. I violated community standards.
Under UN command
Great.
to being under NATO command. That war was stopped within months.
Rabbi Shmuley.
So, yes.
Why is Rabbi Shmuley talking to me through my cell phone?
In America's national interest. America, an isolationist America, has little control over both geostrategic events that impact upon it. But more importantly, when it comes to influence, when it comes to setting the world order, the rules by which we all play on everything, politics, economy, cultural.
Look at this poor kid who died in Gaza. An IDF soldier. He looks like he's 17. What happened?
On balance, been a great force for good in the world since World War II. And, yes, of course, we should
Tragic!
Recognise it and thank the United States and its
tragic
for the
it's so tragic
stability that it's brought Europe and much of the rest of the world. But it's also been in America's interest to do so, and we shouldn't lose sight of that fact. And isolationism is just, it's a trope that those who are hostile to the United States
deportations for a happy Chicago.
Trot out in order to enhance their own power in the hope that the NATO alliance will break down. And people should be very careful of what they wish for. That's it, Noah. Rant over.
Yeah, I mean, even...
Great space, brother.
Even our
Great
enemies are making alliances. I mean, there's...
Our enemies are making alliances, so we have to make our alliances and confirm our alliances.
I know that in an ideal world, Israel would become a part of NATO.
Dude, this guy Jake Paul's a fucking Goliath. Oh my god, it's unbelievable.
But it would change the whole surface of the Gaza war and how it would have looked like if Israel would have been a NATO member.
So let me put this another way, Noah. Turkey, has always been an enigma.
Jake Paul.
And it sits on the edge of Europe. It basically sits on the southern flank of Europe, and it marches to the tune of to the beat of its own drum. There's a saying.
Okay, I'm gonna leave here shortly. This is like a great room to live stream. This is the open source intelligence room on X, Twitter. I was just labeled a lunatic for saying, as a taxpayer, I don't want to pay for any Patriot missile battery systems to protect the United States of America. But you got it. You watched. You know what's happening. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money. Money, money, money. Hey. Everybody loves money.
It's not perfect. It's a Turkey that is unburdened by NATO.
Unburdened by what has been.
And remember Article 5.
Unburdened. I heard somebody last night say unburdened at the bar. They're just like, they knew, he knew what he was saying. He was bringing up the Kamala quote. It was pretty funny. I caught him. I was like, unburdened, huh? He's like, yeah, unburdened.
That wouldn't happen. I wouldn't worry too much about.
All right, so here's Adrian Dittman. Guess who? It's me, Adrian Dittman.
And I say this as the son of a Cypriot. It's better to have Turkey inside NATO than outside NATO.
It's better to have him under control than not in control.
Interesting. Amir, I saw that you were thumbs downing over there. Do you disagree?
No, actually, there was a lot of discussion, so I took a few notes and bullet points.
which I like to kind of cover, but I want to make. I can't hear Amir, so I'm going to just drop down. Sorry, Amir, I'll drop down.
Sorry, Amir, gotta go. Can't hear you now, got to interrupt. Take care now, love. Bye-bye.
So,
If you can't hear him, just shut the fuck up and drop.
You have a little bit of concern around Turkey and its from Qatar. But Turkey in general has always been more of a military state.
Really?
And there have been many coups by the military
That's right.
removing the Turkish prime minister. So you have to look at more, don't look at current events.
They brought me back up.
Look at the historical events. Turkey is needed by NATO, because it's a buffer between Russia and Europe. Turkey is needed by Europe and United States because it's at a pivotal point. I'm talking about more geopolitically and geostrategic. It's at the tip of Middle East, and it has a very secular population. Even though you see some crazy idiots on the streets, Turkey is very secular.
It did bring me back up, so I'll try to say something intelligent and calmly and peacefully so I don't upset everybody.
And they very much like to be European than anything else.
But I do gotta go to the gym, and I have voted Trump.
They like to be European, considered to be European. Now, you got Erdogan, who is corrupt, who is very much Islamist, but at the same time, he's very pragmatic. He does understand current economic situation in Turkey. Turkey's economy is falling. It has a high inflation rate, high unemployment rate, and a lot of the companies have moved away from Turkey. So Turkey does need European and Western investments. The other thing is, look at currently what happened in the mayor fight in Turkey, in Istanbul. That was a big defeat for Erdogan. Istanbul was a key battleground for Erdogan, and the opposition to Erdogan won by high numbers. And of course, we saw the street fights and all that stuff in Turkey. So I would recommend not undermine Turkey's historical events, because if I remember, people were concerned when there was a gentleman named Öcalan, which was the PKK leader, and Kurds everywhere around the world loved the guy, Öcalan. And Turkey never assassinated him or killed him, because they know if they kill Öcalan, and he's been in jail since Özal. I remember Özal, he was the prime minister then. And he's been there, just in jail. Now, moving to NATO, we had a friend who believes that NATO is irrelevant and the United States needs to move away from it. He's a typical American who believes taxpayers have a lot of say. And I do agree that taxpayers have a lot of say, but at the end of the day, decision making is not made by taxpayers. It's made in behind closed doors, and a lot of the decision makings governments make, it's not because what the taxpayers think, it's more of Americans' interest in the world. I think the United States has always had its own best interests in mind, even when it comes to Israel. Even though when they support Israel, they understand they need Israel for their own protection in that area. They don't do this because they're trying to give food away. They're doing this because they're all for their own interests. It's the only stable country in that region. It's a democratic country in that region. It's a prosperous country in that region. And it has shown that it can be stable. So Israel has shown that it can be a stable government. That's in the best interest of the United States. No country in there
in order to help you because they love you. They come to help you in order to do their own self-interest. Has the United States made bad decisions? Of course. Every country makes bad decisions. Has the United States made decisions in Middle East that it does not fit their agendas? Yes or no, depends who you ask. I do think United States is investing, but they have shifted investments now differently. It's not anymore installing leaders or bringing someone in that it's in that fits their agenda or narrative. Like they had Noriega, they had other puppets around the world. They're now doing it more by using the proxies, like any other country does, like China does, like Russia does. The United States has shifted that, so they form alliances, such as with Israel. That's I'm not saying Israel it's a United States puppet. It's an alliance. It's a strategic alliance, and they work together in order to accomplish joint ventures. And I think the United States is also now investing in Saudi Arabia. The United States is investing also in Europe. I really do think the world is changing, shifting gears, and it's been shifting gears since the fall of Soviet Union. They try to figure out who is the next evil partner. So when you remember when it was Yeltsin who became United States' best friend, alliances were forming behind the scenes by bad actors that are against the United States. Now you have China has become a big competition. And China is a new competition. If you think about it, China just evolved after Deng Xiaoping.
Instagram is useless.
In the 90s.
You can't even live stream on Instagram anymore.
It's really
it's impossible.
China's
I don't know how Rabbi Shmuley has an account.
And then, of course, you have Xi Jinping.
The algorithm hates me.
But
the algorithm views bald assholes as the threat to the greatest threat to the algorithm.
Power, yeah. But is China United
I'm going to start putting a wig on. Should I go get my wig? It's time. I think it's time. I'm going trans. I'm going to become a trans operative.
They can't compete with the United States when it comes to...
Agreed.
It's a different ballgame. And the reason is China is controlled by the so-called Communist Party. It's an elite.
Right. Hey, Amir, hold on. Amir, hold on. Sorry, bud. I'm gonna let everybody know I'll be closing the space here soon. So if anybody wants to get some last words in, go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll go to Anne's. Amir, go ahead and finish what you were saying.
No, I think the only thing is don't ignore someone like John, who is an isolationist or whatever he wants. This type of mindsets are dead. If you say it's all about the United States, then you're giving credit to the Chinese and the Russians and all those dictators who want to make United States they want to isolate United States. United States has no choice.
Added a restriction to my account.
They're doing that, but it's a different way of forming alliances. It's now more through intelligence sharing. It's more through partnering, understanding if you can do what I can do for you, I'll do it for you as well. Anyway, that was my last comment. So United States will never become an isolationist, as some people want. The same thing they wanted the United States to become a protectionist. It didn't happen after NAFTA. You saw that. You need each other. You can never be a protectionist. You cannot become an isolationist. So stop thinking that way. Think more for future.
John, if you'd like to respond, I don't see any.
Yeah. I mean, listen, an isolationist is an all or nothing position. The United States is not an isolationist country, and I am not an isolation. Yeah, I'm speaking. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm speaking. Hello?
Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear John Parker?
No, I can't. Hold on, John. Let me recycle you. Give me a second. Hold on.
Can't hear you. What a fucking troll.
John.
Parker, can you hear John Parker?
No, I can't. Hold on, John.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Yeah, I see the thing moving. So I was saying that, I'm not an isolationist because that's an all or nothing position. I would just encourage everyone to go to usdebtclock.org and look at the actual financial balance sheet of the United States of America. And essentially what, you are on Elon Musk's platform and he has, I think it's a meme basically, but it's called Doge, which is, Department of Government Efficiency. The United States government, unfortunately, should be profiting from these wars. It should not be spending for these wars. It shouldn't be operating these wars. The governments of the world are authoritarian. The United States government is no different than the Russian government, the French government, the German government, the Italian government. We're all in a collective hive type of mind situation. I think that the Navy soldiers on U.S. Aircraft carriers should be doing yoga and meditation classes and re-education in terms of psychology. I'm not for war. I'm for peace. I stand with Israel. And, somebody said a $1-for-$1 exchange with the Israelis, which I think it should be 10-to-1. I have no problem funding Israel. I don't like all the Islamic terrorism and jihadism that happens throughout the world. It's a sickness. But also an addiction to free fake money, or AKA borrowing money from the Federal Reserve is a sickness.
John, you're contradicting yourself. On one hand, you're saying we need to support Israel. On the other hand, you're saying the United States should look at the debt watch and look at how much our debt is growing. My friend, debt has been growing since I was born in here. They kept always showing us the numbers.
I know, but you have to understand there is a cultural shift happening with Elon Musk at the right-hand side of Donald Trump.
Elon Musk, hold on a second. I know people like to hear that. Is another term, is another buzzword.
Amir, you don't live in America. Amir, your opinion is irrelevant in America, sir. You're not an American. You're not in the U.S. government. You don't work for a U.S. corporation. I'm telling you, you don't have the perspective that I have. We'll have to agree to disagree, but I didn't interrupt you.
Wait, you guys. I want to hear from John. Yeah, please, one at a time. Amir, you were talking for several minutes. John came back after a cold shower. I would like to let him finish what he was saying.
Thank you.
John,
Yeah, listen, this is open source intelligence. You may not like my opinion, but you should at least listen to what I'm saying because
We're listening to you, John. No worries.
I hear you, but I'm just telling for the average listener that it's important to listen to opinions you don't agree with, and you should actually spend the time to meditate on what people are saying, which means listening and hearing. And that is the problem around the world today, is that you're not listening to what the American voters and taxpayers are saying. No one wants to keep working in the United States of America to continue to fund all of this excessive spending. $1 trillion a year for the NDAA, which is the National Defense Authorization Act, is way too much money to be continually spending when we're only taking in $2 trillion and spending $4 trillion a year or even $5 trillion a year. We're going from 40 trillion in debt to 50 trillion to 60 trillion to 70 trillion. It's not going to stop. And Amir, I hate to tell you this, you're entitled to your opinion, but the fact is, in America, the voters have woken up because their taxes are going through the roof and they can't afford what they have now.
I think he's not understanding. Dude, I live in the United States and I have 20 employees. I know more about the taxes and the wages that are going up. I can't even fund my...
Okay, Delam Barat Cheliteng Shodeser, you interrupted me. I wasn't finished with my platform speech yet. Anyways, I guess I'm finished now. But Amir, God bless you and God bless America. I'm just saying that you go to usdebtclock.org, look at the financial situation, and just realize that there's going to be drastic spending cuts, whether it's at Department of Defense, Department of Education, whatever Tulsi Gabbard is going to take control. You're looking at the most incredible geopolitical shift and cultural shift. Trump and what is happening now, it hasn't even happened yet. But today, Joe Biden is escalating the war in Ukraine. The Department of State is spending $50 billion, and you can go to the Department of State's website and look at the weapon systems they're sending to Ukraine. 600 tanks, 600 Stinger missiles. Like, the war is escalating, and we need to de-escalate. And when Donald Trump gets into office, he's going to hopefully de-escalate, but de-escalate through strength. That's the best negotiating position to be in. And
Okay,
so
John,
I'm complete. Yeah, thank you all.
how do you cut spending but also show de-escalation through strength if you're not funding your military?
Do you know how much money we've already spent? What do you think? You have to spend money to win wars? No, you actually do actions. It's not just about spending. We've already spent the money. We've got the weapons.
Okay, John. When you do actions, how much do you think each one of these rockets costs? How much do you think?
Hundreds of millions and billions for everything. You can go to Department of State and look at the actual assets.
So if you have a peaceful negotiation through strength, that means you have to beef up your military, which means you have to spend more. You are contradicting yourself in your statement by, we need to cut spending, but we need to show strength. We need to show strength.
Are you just addicted to spending? That's what I don't understand. Stop spending. Is that such a controversial position to even have? Do you run your life like that? Yes, you do. If you can't afford it, you stop spending.
Oh my God, you're like a fucking eighth grade girl. I'm saying,
an eighth grade girl.
If you cut the spending on the military, you're trying to strengthen up. That's my question to you. I want to hear your answer. How do you strengthen the military by weakening it?
Well, listen, I guess I am contradicting myself. I'm being facetious. The point is, if you run the government like a business, that means you run it as a for-profit, not a non-profit. We're running this system as a non-profit agency. We should be running the government as a for-profit business. And if that's the facts, that means we cut spending in order to save and pay down debt. So you survive.
You run your company. You run your company on a for-profit system. Got it. So if you cut half your employees but expect the same output in production, how is that going to be possible?
Okay, Mr. Economics Professor, I think Amir said he has 20 employees. Can you tell us, Amir, do you run your business for profit or do you run it to create debt?
I'm asking you, if you cut your staff in half and then expect the same production, how is that logical?
Okay, does Google and Microsoft and Amazon cut employees in order to save operating administrative expenses? Yes, that's what the United States government has to do. It's called saving money by cutting spending.
John,
Oh my God.
I want to correct you there because I do know about that because I worked in a business that did that. The reason why they cut and do layoffs
These people are retarded.
is not to cut spending in order to be more profitable. It's in order to change the.
Do I really have to explain to you how math works? This is basic algebra.
1 second, let me finish.
Go ahead.
It's in order to change the goals of what is the operational cost of the business in order to increase the stock value. It has absolutely nothing to do with cutting costs to be more efficient and everything to do with opening up the stock value of the company for a certain period of time when you want to sell, when you want to get investors, etc., etc. So don't confuse the two things.
No, wait. Amir.
Everybody, hold on. Sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to go to Fusilier, then we can circle back to you, Amir.
Yep, and then before we go to Fusilier, I'll just say this. No, I'm not an economic specialist. I am, however, overseeing a fleet of over 3,000 drivers, 2,000 trucks. I know what the cost of business is. If I were to cut the cost of my business, aka the insurance, the leasing of the trucks, the fuel costs, if I were to try to cut all that, my business would go out of business. So what you're saying is cutting spending. Sometimes it's just not as feasible as it sounds.
Okay, got it. Understand. So we're having a competitive conversation then. Fucking faggot just keeps muting
me.
me.
In the areas that you can't. You cut it in the excess areas.
This is so stupid. You believe how stupid this is?
Funding, UNRWA. UNRWA is a great place to start.
Great place. Start at UNRWA now.
1,000%. Anyway, Fusilier, go ahead.
Also, it's the NDAA, which is $1 trillion a year. The NDAA.
Fusilier, go ahead.
Yeah, so look, I think, I'm listening to this. You're all right in ways, but I think there's a massive conflation going on here about internal budget.
All right, I got to go to the gym.
US politics and geostrategic positioning.
Got to make sure that it's open now. It used to be 24 hours, but they cut back the hours to save money.
Road system, who keep the United States safe so that your thousands of trucks can drive around the highway system. We're not talking about who buys the trucks, who pays the drivers. What I mean by that is that the United States You go and look at the growth figures.
Close at 7. We're good.
Western democracies at the moment. The reason the US emerges from global downturns and performs far more effectively is because the US writes the rules about international trade. The United States sets the conditions under which the world trades.
Really? That's an all or nothing statement. Again, please, no more all or nothing statements in the rest of your speech, sir.
And you have to, in order to play in that game, in order to be in that position, in order to establish what they call the global world order, the rules.
Too many strikes due to community guidelines. I can't upload anything anymore.
You
Great.
have to speculate to accumulate. You have to be the top dog. You can't isolate.
Go big or go home.
You'll surrender the ability to control that entire network to your adversaries. Quite frankly, worrying about internal debt.
Just trying to become a big content creator one day, but I have no supporters. So if you have the chance, please subscribe.
But I would argue that, the war in Ukraine, where you've got the Ukrainians bleeding the Russians dry.
The Ukrainians are bleeding the Russians dry.
It would cost the United States or NATO to do it.
These fucking British cocksuckers.
Sitting in desert storage.
They're such ruthless profiteers. I love it.
600, or where the United States is giving 600 tanks to the Ukraine at the cost of X billion dollars. That's the cost it would take to replace them. Those tanks, those M1A1 Abrams, are sitting in desert storage. They will never
Sitting in desert storage.
In Gulf War I and Gulf War II. So the fact is that in order to be the world's dominant power, you have to invest. Is Britain better off now than it was when it was the world's superpower in 1904? Of course it isn't. The cost of Britain being the world's superpower was absolutely crippling. The British government constantly reduced the size of the Royal Navy and the Army in those periods. But in the end, it's what kept Britain, allowed Britain to defeat Napoleon, to defeat the Kaiser, to defeat Adolf Hitler, and eventually contribute towards the defeat of the Soviet Union. So in investing huge sums of money in your military, in your geostrategic levers of power is...
Tim Waltz on Instagram messaged me.
I mean, I suppose there is in the
Automated, of course.
military equipment.
Nancy Mace messaged me. Automated, of course.
But I'm talking about investing in the rules-based order, in maintaining the rules-based order. You can't see a direct ledger return on that investment, but the unseen returns are enormous, in exactly the same way as Tom's trucking company couldn't function without the highway system, without the police who patrol it, without the military who keep it secure. There's no cost to Tom directly to Tom's business. He doesn't charge clients for the maintenance of the highway system, for the police, for the military, for all the governmental rules and everything else that allow him to conduct his business. But he does charge them indirectly through taxation. Now,
we are the champions, and you are the losers, because we are the champions of the world.
Compared to the United States. So, conflating domestic economics with
Conflating?
strategic issues like the war in Ukraine or how much your maintenance of dominance as a superpower, they're just two completely different things.
Okay, I'm not Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is a businessman, and look out.
Alright, we're gonna let Fusilier finish, and then I'm closing the space. Fusilier, please finish your thoughts, and then I'm closing.
Fucking British twat.
Yeah, thanks. No, look, John, I hear what you're saying. And,
You don't hear what I'm saying. Donald Trump is the president. He's a businessman. He's not going to let this bullshit continue on, mate. It's a scam. It's ruining it. He killed the space. Oh boy, that was a good one. That was a good session. So basically, Clubhouse is like X, but even like more. It's, you see what I'm saying? X and Clubhouse, just two different situations. I don't know. It takes a long time to build a Clubhouse account to like go into those rooms and do what I do. But anyways, that was a great space. How many followers did I get? 0. Nobody cares what I have to say. I'm a lunatic. Oh, look, my account's been locked. They reported my account. Now I have to verify my email. Oh my God. Can you believe this shit? Somebody doesn't like what you have to say, they report you. And I don't even have an email. Let's see. I love the fact that my accounts get deleted. Let's see here. It's amazing what you can do with a $50 phone. 013560. 013560. 013560. Continue. My account is unlocked. Adrian Dittman. I like to think that most people agree with my beliefs, my feelings, my opinions, my content. Some may not like my message, which is, we're broke. Oops. Oopsie. Do I have to explain reality to people? That's the funniest thing. It's like, we can't conflate domestic spending issues with international security protocols. Really? Recall the battle carriers and all the aircraft carriers, every tank and every asset we have abroad, bring it home for us. Crack myself up. Okay, we're headed to the gym. Thanks for being here. This is the John Kitover Show at onlyfansvid.com. God bless you and your families. May you all live in happiness, peace, and joy.